Hey, what's going on, guys? So I've been reading the comments, watching the reviews, and checking the forums, and I have to say the vibe around DLSS 5 is, well, it's pretty toxic. The common narrative right now, and I'll say 90% of people, is that Nvidia has finally, quote-unquote, lost the plot. Now, they're calling this AI slop or just an AI filter slap on top of our favorite games, okay? But I'm going to go against the grain here. I have a very different take. As someone who is a developer and a software engineer, I think we're being way too hard on technology that is literally still in its infancy. And so let's go ahead and address the whole artistic intent argument. People are essentially freaking out because certain characters' faces, like Grace from Resident Evil, the new Resident Evil Requiem, it appears she has makeup and looks like a completely different person. Some people are calling this a yesification or saying that these characters lack soul. But I believe they're nitpicking frames and just trying to look at the bad in this new technology. So being in the software engineering field and being a developer, when we build something new, and Nvidia especially building something as complicated as neural rendering for DLSS 5, the first iteration is never really the final form, right? It's essentially just a bridge. Phase 1, stage 1. And to me, I don't believe DLSS 5 is just a quote-unquote filter. Even if it is, all the caveats and the issues that people are describing, they are valid to some extent. But again, this is the beginning, and they're going to make sliders and parameters to allow developers to keep their artistic intent, but also enhance their native rendering. And we have to be honest, we've essentially hit a wall with hardware. We can only cram so many transistors into a RTX card. I mean, let's be honest, these cards they're growing and they're becoming massive and taking a lot of power. We have to find some creative ways to get that photorealism without having a nuclear power plant in your gaming rig. Okay, so the future of 4K or potentially 8K gaming with 240 hertz with path tracing requires for us to use some form of AI to fill the gaps. We just have to be realistic here. We are moving away from trying to calculate every pixel to predicting the scene. And this is what has made DLSS successful to begin with. At first, it was, essentially predicting a small part of the scene. Now it's essentially predicting the majority of the scene. So it was a natural transition with this technology, but it's with DLSS 5, yes, this is unfortunately a massive paradigm shift, and I only see it getting better from this point, in my opinion. Let's take a step back at DLSS 1 and just take a look at what it was. At first, it was blurry, it had ghosting, and everyone said it was a gimmick, right? It had all this noise. Everyone hated it. Then DLSS 2 came out, and it changed everything. Then 3.5 came out and brought ray reconstructions and all these other features, and now we're at 4.5, and I mean, it looks amazing. It's better to play with the DLSS than without, because at times, the DLSS version is actually more enhanced and detailed than the native rendering. So again, Nvidia just released this and it hasn't had time to mature, right? Most developers don't even have the SDK or they haven't utilized the SDK yet. So let's give it time, let it bake a bit, okay? let's give it some time. This is new technology, and eventually developers are going to get around to tweaking the parameters of the model. I'm pretty sure. I don't understand why Nvidia wouldn't create this feature set to allow developers to be creative with this tool or this technology. So I'm certain. So if we want games to look like the Pixar movies running at 144 frames per second in our home rigs, we have to let Nvidia cook. The nitpicking is just noise. Let's be real. They've already brought out DLSS 4.5, which gives us performance. And let's also take a look at frame generation. People didn't like it at first, but people with lower tier cards actually benefit from frame generation, and even higher end cards, because it essentially gives you that 20 240 hertz performance if you have a good base resolution with the latency and so forth. So I'm betting on the tech here, right? I think by the time we see the RTX 5090 fully integrated with DLSS 5 libraries later this year, a lot of people are going to be deleting their angry tweets and things of that nature. And in fact, the Digital Foundry video to me appears to be the first release or news of DLSS 5. And they were getting death threats because they applauded DLSS 5 and commended it on their initial impressions. They've now created a follow-up video and corrected their stance on it. But come on, guys, death threats because they liked newly released technology by Nvidia at GTC. Come on, that's not. It doesn't make sense. So again, let Nvidia cook. And yeah, that's it for the video. What do you guys think? Are you staying on the hate train, or are you all willing to give DLSS 5 a chance to evolve? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you guys again.